Hello there, Pursuing Freedom friends. Thanks as always for tuning in. Again, I always like to say if you're new here, buckle up and get ready for an awesome show. Thanks for tuning in. If you're a repeat offender, you know how much I love you coming back and tuning into all these amazing interviews with these guests that we get to attract thanks to your support. So, guys, I've never done this before. What's about to happen? Okay, I met this guy. He's a mortgage lender named Will Price at a workshop I was teaching in Denver a couple weeks ago, and he's a mortgage lender. And I could just tell from his energy during the workshop that he was very like tuned in, tapped in, fired up. And I just felt like this electricity coming from him. And afterwards, we chatted for a little bit. I was like, I need to get to know you. I can tell that you've got some magic going on here. Okay. So we set up a call and we just had a Zoom call set up for today. And we were just going to get to know each other a little bit. And he starts talking. And I literally, after literally taking enough notes from what he was saying that I could give him a script for this podcast interview, I interrupted him. I said, we're getting off this call. I need to start a new Zoom meeting and we are going to make this a podcast interview because his message is gold, you guys, absolute gold. We're recording this in November of 2023, and we've been navigating some choppy waters in the real estate industry. We've got a lot going on with rates and inventory and the lawsuit and all this stuff. And, everybody's chattering, all the noise. And I keep saying how the more we focus on that noise, the more our feet go into the quicksand and the more you stay stuck right where you are. There are people thriving, and Will is one of them. And the story he's about to share with you not only is going to knock your socks off, but it better inspire you to get out of your head and into activity because people are thriving right now. Will's one of them. You can be one of them. No more excuses. Stop blaming the external world. Stop waiting for things to change. You change you, and then you change your results. So with no further ado, Will, give us a little backstory. How, when, and why did you land in the mortgage business? Bring us up to speed, and then fill us in on what you were just sharing with me starting back in 2022 and then where you are today, because my mind is blown. My brain is exploding over here. I'm so excited.
Oh man, Aaron, you're way too nice. You're like that is just outrageous. I'm so blown away by you right now. I can't even. But this is so cool. Thanks for allowing me to be a part of this. You know, I got into the industry back in 2008 when everything was on fire. So all I knew was high interest rates and everybody losing equity and the world was on fire. Everybody was panicking about what their home values were and if they were going to be able to retire and if they lost all their money in their 401k. So that's when I learned. Like that's how I learned. And during that time when I was selling 14% FHA loan, that's that was my stomping ground. So fast forward to 2020 when COVID hit. In between that time, I started my company, and my company. When I started my company, I started with 2008 in mind. I saw those lenders and brokers go out of business. So when I started my company, I started it with that in mind. So we wouldn't have these big lines of credit and all these opportunities to go out of business if something like this were to happen again. And coming into 2020, nobody knew what was going to happen when they came out with the whole COVID thing. And but up until that point, it was, things were moving, like business was flowing. People like we had a routine like where we could like really like build relationships and spend time with our people to really build our books of business. And then 2020 came and rates got to 2%. And all of a sudden, all of the things we used to build our business with follow up and service and relationship building went out the window. Like it went out the window. And that lasted where we didn't have to practice on our craft and like continue to stay sharp with building relationships with people. We were out of practice for almost 3 years, from 2020 to 2023. And that's a long time to not do something. That's a long time to not practice your skill set. So now trying to turn it back up again was really, really hard, right? And for me, right, honestly, I didn't realize things really were really like really tough and getting really tight until around September of 2022. Like I noticed things were kind of coming down here when rates went up in July of 2022, but it really didn't hit home And I didn't start having a kind of a panic attack until September of 2022, when I looked up and all the relationships that I had spent all these years building had kind of fallen by the wayside because we were so focused on refi business, right? And that's when my journey really began, kind of, because at that point I was trying to get back into, I was trying to get motivated to go out and build business again and start talking to people. And I just couldn't. It was the absolute worst. Like, it was like pulling teeth. It was like, this is so hard. Like, it was so hard. Everything was so hard for me to get up and get in front of people, or go try to get coffee with people, or even just pick up the phone and call somebody. Like, it was just hard. And that is when I started understanding that, I needed to do some work and figure out internally on myself, and figure out, okay, like, what's important to me? Like, like, who am I? Like, do I even want to do this? Do I even want to keep trying to do this? Like, this is just such a grind. Like, what is my life right now? Seriously. And kind of going through that process of, like, that journey of uncovering who I am, and like really like digging deep to kind of find out, like, what I'm made of. I started thinking back to what I was doing before 2020, all the things I was doing before 2020, right? And before 2020, I had a really good routine in place where, like, I would get up in the morning, I would start working my files. And the minute that I got to a certain point on my loan files, I say, nope, this is my reward. I get to go to the gym and work out now, right? And doing that consistently, and thinking back at that was like why everything just flowed so much easier. And then now I look up and I don't have a routine, right? I'm overweight. I'm not doing as many deals as I want to do, and I'm just still surviving. I'm still in this survival mode, but not from a perspective of business, but just from a perspective of, like, my personal, like, health. And my mentality is just kind of like this weird, like, lackadaisical, just kind of getting through, just trying to make things happen to make, to get them through the next day and the next week and the next month. And honestly, it really didn't click for me until about August of this year, actually. Like, it took almost a full year for me to really pinpoint what it was, and, like, kind of how I was so far off the mark. And August of this year, I said, okay, I'm getting back to it. And I went into it with this mentality of, yeah, I'm about to just pick up where I left off in 2019. And boy, it was just so hard. It was such a grind still, but I knew where I needed to be and the things I needed to do in order to get my mind right, even though it sucked so bad. Like, when we went to working out, you know, getting appointments with people, talking to people about my business, like rekindling those old relationships with agents that I've done business with, like rekindling relationships with the CPAs I did business with, the attorneys. It was just hard. And all of a sudden, after doing that consistently every day, here comes October. And then right at the end of September, I felt just completely energized. Like, I was reinvigorated. I had built, like confidence. And then October was just a breakout month. Like, it was a breakout month. And then what I was doing, because I have a team of 22 people, right? So, and everyone was kind of feeling it. So I was recording everything that I was doing, right? If I'd have a conversation and set an appointment. I would send that video out to my team and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm saying. Like, this is how I'm doing this stuff, right? And people always kind of look and say, well, yeah, you're the owner of the company. You're kind of out of touch. You don't know what we deal with. And I'm like, oh, yeah, let me show you. Like, I know how to do this. So all of a sudden, October breakout month, and then I start to see the momentum build, right, within the team. I start to see that people are actually watching those videos. They're actually kind of following those steps. And then now here we are in November, and the team, it's people are blowing up this month in November. Like, we're on track to have one of the best Novembers we've had in the last, like, 12 months, since last November. And it's moving into December, and it's moving into January, and it's just all about really getting that momentum built. And like I was saying to you before, like, everybody always talks about, they say that the thing mindset, right? Change your mindset, but nobody talks about the work it takes to put yourself in a position to actually be able to flip that switch in your mind, right? You can't take 3 years off from doing absolutely nothing, then all of a sudden just say, oh, that person online told me to change my mindset. They're right. Let me change my mindset around this whole thing and actually maintain it, right? Like the thing is about maintaining it, because you can get all excited to go out and do something new for a day, but then the next day you're like, okay, that was enough. I did enough for the week. I'm just gonna take the rest of the week off now. But that work is the gritty, grimy, dark work. Like you have to explore those dark corners of your soul and your mind, and like see some really scary stuff, and like challenges if you even want to be doing this right now, right? And when you come out of that dark corner, when you come to the light and you realize, yeah, this is what I want to do, and you start thinking back at the times, at any time, not just when, if you've been in real estate for a year or 2 years or 20 years, but thinking back to a time where you were just firing on all cylinders, and you think about what your life was like and what you were doing and how you were, then you have something to reference of like, oh, I can actually do that. Let me do that, what I was doing then, and let me do it with this, right? And then now all of a sudden, once you start getting through that gritty part of building that muscle again, then when someone says the word mindset, you can actually say, oh yeah. And that it can flip a switch to help you know what you need to do to have the right mindset moving into it. So
My God. So now, okay, everybody listening, you understand why we did. I was like, oh, hang on. Wait, stop. We gotta pump the brakes. We gotta pause. We gotta record this. This is gold. This is freaking awesome. Okay. I have like another 4 pages of notes now because you just said so many incredible things that we have to highlight here and come back to. So first of all, the last thing you were talking about, mindset being work, and like this hard, dark work. And it's so funny because there's a lot of coaches out there, in our industry. And as my coaching practice has evolved over the years, and people will come to me and ask me about what I've got to offer, right? And the very first thing I say to people is that when you work with me, this is going to be an inside out approach to creating transformation in your life and in your business, because you don't need a playbook. You already have it. You've already been to enough trainings that tried to give you the silver bullet on what you need to do. And there's a saying that we are human beings, not human doings, but we've been programmed for our lifetime to get up and hurry up and get doing. And we have this external approach to trying to fix what's going on the inside. And we've been programmed deeply to take more action. And we're not addressing the fact that we haven't gone inward, and the inside job is the hardest work of all. And I say that all the time in my programs, is that, we're going to keep on coming back to this, because you're right. You don't turn the switch on and now your mindset's fixed. It's every single day checking in with yourself, asking yourself, where am I on the spectrum from negative to positive? Am I worried or am I confident? Am I anxious or am I excited? Am I nervous or am I eager? Like, where am I? And if you're not in a good place, then that work is more important than any box you could check. I truly believe that, because you can go check boxes and give from an empty well all day long and get nowhere. And I also really appreciate your honesty and vulnerability around the fact that, you had this freak out moment in September of 2022, and it took you all the way to August of 2023 to pinpoint what you really wanted. So before I go any further, I'd like to ask you, since we're talking about it, what did it look like for you to do that work? I mean, really, for me, a turning point in my life was 2015. I read the Miracle Morning. I started practicing a morning routine, and I was consistently inconsistent for a long time. But I've come to a place where my morning routine is it's a religion for me. It's every day of the week, 7 days of the week, unless I'm weirdly like having to get on an airplane at 5 a.m. or something, and that's where I do the work, and it's every single day. So what did it look like for you? Were there any books, any mentors, any podcasts that helped you?
I've always kind of been like a lone wolf, honestly. Like it's always been kind of one of those people like that does a lot of work internally. My wife is amazing. Like I spend a lot of time talking to her, and she has to deal with with a lot of my crap sometimes, and she kind of helps me through the stuff. But a lot of it was questioning, like, see, so we're all kind of insecure. Like I'm really insecure. Like like people see me as this big 6'7" dude, and like oh man, and like they don't realize like I'm insecure too, right? So a lot of it like is dealing with a lot of my insecurities. So going through that time, the biggest voice in my head was telling me that you just old, you're washed up, bro. It's time for you to do something else. Like this was fun while it lasted, and you just don't have it in you anymore. You just don't have it in you anymore. Just like basketball. I played basketball my whole life. So you get to a certain age and it's harder and everything comes harder. And that's why, it's just time to maybe look at something else. Right. And I've always been real stubborn. So so one of the things I always ask myself whenever I'm feeling some way that's uncomfortable for me is, or I'm feeling any type of anxiety or fear around anything, or if I feel my wife says something and I get a little angry, I'm like, the first thing I ask myself is, why am I feeling this way? Like what is it really? Because we lie to ourselves better than we lie to anybody. Honestly, like we are master manipulators of our own selves. If you think about what I'm saying, we're master manipulators of our own minds. Because if something's wrong with us, we will find every reason to say, "Oh, well, it's just because I'm hungry and tired, and it's just been a long week, and I'm sorry, I'm just hungry and tired. I need some rest and some good food, and everything will be fine." You're like, okay. So now that you've gotten through that lie, like, what is it for real? Well, I'm a little stressed out because my pipeline has one loan in it, and financially things feel tight, and I'm feeling a little fat and out of shape. And I just got up off the couch and my belly jiggled a little bit, and this is not what I'm used to, and it's putting me in a bad mood. And so, like, that's how that work looked for me. Like for a year, like trying to be as honest, break down as many lies that I've built up in my mind about why I feel the way I feel about things. And I start to realize I'm like, a lot of it came down to just me not doing the work I needed to do. Honestly, it was like, okay, well, you feel insecure because your pipeline's slow and things are really hard and you're out of shape and you're feeling a little bit of strain financially. And it's like, wow, this is all a result from me not doing the things I need to do every day. So now I need to make sure that if I don't want to feel fat, if I don't want to feel, like strained financially, if I don't want to feel like insecure about these things, I've got all the power to change them. So now and then as soon as I made that decision though, I was like everybody else. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go to the gym every single day. I'm gonna work out for 2 hours and then I'm gonna go do cardio on the treadmill for an hour. And then I'm gonna make 15 phone calls and I'm gonna make sure to set all these appointments. And then I caught myself going through this journey of like burning out super fast. I'm like, and then I start asking, well, why can't I maintain my workouts? I went to the gym all week last week, but now this week I'm so exhausted. I just want to sleep and lay around. And then now I'm not making my calls. And oh, great, now I'm not doing that. And here's another day that just passed of all these things building up that I'm not accomplishing that I said I was going to accomplish. And here I am, just this big, fat, lazy person that's not going to accomplish anything. And I wanted to roll over and just die, honestly. Like you know what I mean? Like, not like from a not literal standpoint, but like just a
Yeah.
mental, spiritual standpoint. And then the approach finally just came. Like I said, there was no book, there was no like thing I saw, but like I said, just a lot of always just like in my head, trying to really just uncover a lot of the past traumas and a lot of the stuff that was there. And I'm okay with being in a dark place. Like that's the thing. I'm a little different. I'm okay with being in that dark, scary place and crying on my own in the dark and nobody knows. Like so I'm thinking of all these things. And it hit me one day and I was like, look, man, how about you just accomplish one thing a day and have something to feel good about? Like, how about you just have something to feel good about at the end of every day? So then at that point, I was like, all right, well, what can I feel good about? I'm like, if I just set one appointment today, that would make me feel good. If my whole day went to shit and I did nothing else today, but I got my one appointment set, I can go to bed feeling like I did something good today. Like I did something right. Like I was able to give myself some grace and say, hey, you did a good job today. You did one appointment. Awesome. And then it started turning into, okay, if I can just work out for 30 minutes, it doesn't have to, I don't care if it's lifting weights. I don't care if it's walking on a treadmill. If I can do something active for 30 minutes a day, that was a win. Like it was just a win. And I can accept that and be okay with that. I did 30 minutes of workout. I got my one appointment a day today. Today was a damn good day. Do it again tomorrow. And then all of a sudden, I started getting excited about doing that one thing tomorrow, and then tomorrow, and then tomorrow. And then I had a relapse one day where I had a day where all of these things I've been doing, the gym, the 30 minutes at the gym, the one appointment a day started to build up. And I started getting busy. Like my phone started ringing more, email started going off a little bit more. And then I get to the end of the day and I look up and I was so frustrated because I'm like, this is what I wanted. But like today was a day I was so busy today, but I got nothing done. Every time I got on the call, my phone was ringing on the other line. I had all these emails and all these texts, and then I look up and I'm like, I didn't get back to all these people. So all of that, those insecurities, those traumas started coming back of like, oh, see, you're not ready for success, really. You're not ready for all these things. See, you're just not ready. You can't handle it. See, this is what we meant. So you're just old and washed up, dude. You need to hang it up, right? And I'm like, no. So my wife came home after a super long day, and I promise you, I was on the verge of tears. I was like, Stephanie, today I had so many good things happening today, and I just couldn't handle them all. And I feel like I'm behind the eight ball and I can't figure it out. I need your help because she's a really like, she's got like that, what do you call it? Like that A type personality of like very organized and like very like she can do spreadsheets and she can do calendars and she can do all these things to like organize your life. And that's something I've always been extremely afraid of. Like I see a spreadsheet right now and you will actually see my eyes like gloss over. Like I don't even have to, you have to show, you don't have to tell me what's on it. The minute you bring up Microsoft Excel, my eyes are like this. What are you about to show me now? And so I sat with her and was like, I really need you to help me change. Like, I really need you to help me get a grip on my day. I do not want another day to go by to be like today. And literally 15 minutes, she had my whole calendar. So, okay, what do you want to do? Like, you work out in the morning? Okay. So what, 6:30 to 8? Is that a good time to work out? So in my calendar, she's got a blue box. Gym time, 6:30 to 8. And then from 8 to 10, she's like, okay, what do you do next? I'm like, then I usually work on my pipeline stuff and like check on things and follow up with, certain active loans happening. So okay, 8 to 10, you working on your pipeline, doing these things. Then from 10 to noon, this is the time for you to check all those emails that because since you haven't had your phone during these first 4 hours of the day, all these emails and texts and phone calls are building up. So 10 to 12 is the time for me to return those emails, those calls, those texts, phone calls, whatever. So she really put my day out how I always like to handle it. But now, one of the things that you said about the rocks that come into your schedule, with that, it's allowed me to be more like efficient. Like it's allowed me to give myself grace again when I look at my phone and all of a sudden, like me and you were talking for 30 minutes, supposed to talk for 30 minutes, and now we're doing a podcast. And I can say, okay, great. Anything that comes in now, I can guide that rock that's coming at me and say, you know what? My next time available to do my inbox clearing moment is from 12 to 2, right? So like I said, so this is one of my inbox clearing moments. And my next time after that is 3 to 4. So this thing that's coming at me right now, I'm going to push that to 3 to 4. Like, oh, you want to talk to me? Let's talk at 3. Let's talk at 4. And just that alone has allowed me to really get a good grip on my day and like have some confidence knowing that the end of each day now, my one accomplishment on top of my 30-minute workout, my one appointment is now I've controlled my day. How do I feel at the end of today? I don't feel flustered. I don't feel out of control. Holy shoot, I stuck to my calendar. Hey, I accomplished 3 things today and I feel great about it. Right.
Awesome.
And yeah, so that's kind of, I don't know. I don't even know if that answered your question. I just get
Yeah,
so
it
fired
does.
up sometimes
No,
talking about
totally.
this
I
stuff.
mean, there's a couple of things that I want to point out that you said that were really powerful there. So we have a thing that we talk about in my programs called curating vacation energy, because we talk about how when you go on vacation, your business pops and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, that's so annoying. Why does that happen? It's because your energy is high. It's because you're feeling good, you're excited, you're anticipating. And when that happens, you start to attract opportunities. And when you started focusing on one thing per day to feel good about, and all of a sudden your business popped, it's interesting because that's taking it down to the granular level. We could talk all day about what it means to curate vacation energy, and you'd still look at me like, like shaking with my head cut off. What are you talking about? What does that even mean, right? And it's like, no, you find reasons to feel good instead of thinking that when the outcome arrives, you have permission to feel good. You find a reason to feel good. And when you feel good, more opportunities seem to show up. And I appreciate you talking about how hard it was to get the flywheel going. I always like to use the visual of like a car in neutral. And when a car's in neutral, it takes a lot of effort and strength and manpower to get it moving. It's not light, right? But once it's rolling down the street, keeping a little bit of pressure on it, it'll roll easily and you can practically walk alongside it. In fact, it's very difficult to stop that momentum. Like if you tried to stand in front of a car, even though you pushed it from neutral, now it's rolling down the street, you'd get run over. Like it would hurt you if you try to stop that momentum. And so when you talk about that, it's very important to highlight this because a lot of listeners are feeling like they're stuck in neutral. And it is hard. That's the point, is that this isn't supposed to be easy. And I'm not trying to claim that it is. I'm just proving to you guys with this interview and all the others that it is available to you, because the only difference between you listening, feeling stuck in neutral or feeling stuck in the quicksand, and Will, is that he woke up one day and said, basically, screw it. I'm going to make a different result for myself. And I'm going to start with what I can, which is one thing per day. So do that thing, guys, listening one thing per day to get yourself moving, to get yourself proud. And when you start to feel good about yourself, you're going to notice more opportunities coming. And I'm really grateful, Will, for this interview, because I just think it's so timely, and your honesty and transparency throughout the entire conversation is just so powerful and impactful, because everybody can relate to what you were saying. And you talking about being insecure, it's 100%. Every single person is insecure. There's not a single human being that doesn't experience fear, limiting beliefs, worry, doubt. And so let's just say we're all in this together, right? We're all in this together. We're looking at the economy, we're looking at the news, we're looking at the world, and it's feeding the fear. And so I want to help you guys listen to and tune into and spend time with people that are choosing to thrive in spite of it, because we can't eradicate the fear. We can't eradicate the insecurity. All we can do is make choices each and every day and try to find something to feel good about, be proud of, and you'll see the opportunities coming. And the other thing I want to point out is so awesome is that you said it was August that you made a commitment to just turn it on again. And it was hard work every day. And November is going to be one of your best Novembers ever. It's 90 days from consistent activity to results every single time. So right now we're recording this on November 16th. It's probably going to air in December. What do you want your pipeline to look like in March? Don't look at what your pipeline is and let that be evidence that you're failing. Ask yourself where you want it to be in 90 days, and then start today, every day, and just start. Every day is New Year's Day. That's what I like to say. Every day is New Year's Day. Begin again, begin anew, find something to make yourself proud, and keep going. I do want to honor your time because I told you 30 minutes and we've been going at this for almost an hour. But man, Will, you're just such a bright light, and everything about this conversation was so powerful. And I'm sure that the listeners got as much value out of it as I have. So I just really appreciate you being willing to have me throw you in the fire like that. I'm like, pause. We're going to record.
You know, it's funny. This is awesome. Like, I'm actually honored because, like I told you, like the day I met you doing your deal, like I had been, getting a lot of clarity on finding who my people are. Like that grind that I was going through really started to help me see the people who are like grinders, the people who are like taking this opportunity or taking the information that I'm sharing and really trying to sharpen their teeth and sharpen their tools. And when I sat in that room with you, and I could just, like I said, I could just in your eyes, the level of focus, like, I'm like, she is gritty. That is my people. I'm like, how? I don't know how, but Aaron's going to be in my life somehow. Like,
Friends forever.
I was like, I don't know how, but and it's just cool to have this talk, this unexpected, like impromptu, like, hey, let's do this thing. just goes to show, like, I don't know where this is headed, but I want to say thank you. Like, I appreciate you giving me some of your time and like even taking time to talk to me today. So this is awesome.
Well, the other interesting thing about it is that we were doing a business planning workshop for some lenders in Denver is the time that Will and I met a couple weeks ago. And one of the things that we always talk about as we go through the reflection questions is we talk about new relationships that you've developed in the past 12 months and relationships that you've deepened in the past 12 months. And we do these reflection questions in my planning workshop for a reason, because it's there to remind you that as you move to the new destination that you're headed, the transformation, the growth, the foreign territory that feels unrealistic, unfamiliar, scary, whatever, you haven't even met half the people that are going to show up on your path to help you get to that new destination. And this is just an example of that. I mean, I meet someone in passing, it's like instant. I see this person who's demonstrating everything that I'm passionate about. We make new friends, and then a year from now, I'll probably be looking back at this new relationship in my life that showed up at just in the right timing. And that happens all the time. And that's there to empower us to remember that whenever you're feeling stuck and you're looking ahead to where you wish you could be, and instead of where you are, you haven't even met half the people that are going to show up on your journey. And there's people in your life right now that are going to show up and support you in ways that they never had before. So just embrace the unknown instead of being scared of it, and get excited about the opportunity that exists, because there's a lot of opportunity downstream and doors opening, miracles happening every day. And I want everybody listening to this podcast to believe in that and to be receptive to the unfolding of the awesome. So thank you so much, Will. And thank you to all my listeners out there. And Will, if people want to find you, follow you on social media, where can they do that?
Oh man, you really throw me off. So, my name is actually Willison Price, Willison Price. So you can literally Google Willison Price and you will find me, because I'm like the only one in the world apparently. But Instagram, Facebook, Willison Price. I'm the CEO and lead broker at Industry Home Mortgage, and I actively do deals, and I'm in the grind with my peeps. So I mean, yeah, Willison Price, Will.Price at industryhmc.com is my email, and industryhmc.com is the website, and Instagram and Facebook and all that good stuff. Willison Price. So
Awesome. Thank
all
you,
right,
Will.
yeah.
And to all my friends out there tuning in today, as always, I love and appreciate you. Thank you so much for being on this journey towards building a life you don't need a vacation from. And as always, I implore you, I beg you, if you like this content, please leave a 5-star review wherever you're consuming it, because it helps us to continue to attract amazing guests like Will, help this content get found by our fellow freedom seekers, and build that awesome life powered by the business that you love. Make it an awesome day. I'll see you next time.